Hello, everyone. I am Demetra K. I hope that you are having a great day. Thank you for joining me and Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner, on the Demetra K Show, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even. Because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, Big Giant, thank you. Hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. To my wonderful moderators, thank you for all that you do in holding down the comment section. Today, we're going to be talking about a Latino man taking himself to a town hall, city hall meeting this past Monday and using terms that he had no business using at all. And I'm going to show y'all that in just a second. But let's see who we have on here. El, what's going on with you? AFRO Diaspora Network. How you doing? At Gina, what's going on? He says, your mammy, who's mammy? Mama T, what's good? What's going on with you? Mike, nice. Hope you're having a great day. Clifford, what's going on with you? And Nick, how are you? Troy and Derek. All right, so let's get into it for the sake of time. So, I was looking for something to talk about today, and I came across this video, and I said, you don't say. So what happened was this past Monday at a town hall meeting in Laredo, Texas, to be exact, the residents, along with city hall members, the mayor, and things like that, they were having a discussion about data centers. Now, it should be said that there are no applications for data centers in Laredo yet, right? Although Texas is one of the states that has some of the most data centers. Now, if you don't know what a data center is, it is a sort of like a box. We'll call it that for simpler terms. For AI output. So let's say people are making memes or AI movies or whatever it is, they're data centers, right? And so with some of these data centers, and all of them, what I understand, it takes a lot of water, electricity. They're not quite sure what it's emitting into the air just yet. And so you've probably seen all over the United States, there's been a lot of pushback when it comes to the data centers because usually they want to put them in neighborhoods or next to neighborhoods. I did a story about Fisk University, to be exact. The president there, so HBCU, she is entertaining putting a data center on the campus. And a lot of people and residents are like, wait a minute now, because also if you've heard about them, they're very loud. So you might hear a constant all day, right? Very noisy and things like that. It's also said that a lot of times people's electricity is going up, or it's not electricity go around. The water source is tainted. So anyway, as I said, these people showed up to say, hey, if you guys are thinking about that, we don't want it. But then on the one hand, there were people who says, hey, it could bring, a lot of good jobs into the area. So we should entertain it. Again, there's no application on file. Now, what I'm about to show you is a man, right? And he decided that he was going to use a term, I would say, that he had no business using. Now, before I show it to you, it says a speaker at Tuesday's Data Center Town Hall at the Faskin Recreation Center referenced Malcolm X and used the Spanish version of the phrase house word, okay? Now, while criticizing what he described as people who support the government's agenda, he also raised concerns about water use, transparency, environmental impact, and land ownership, energy demands, and the potential effects of future data center projects, calling for stronger protections before any projects move forward. So here we go.
Coined this term, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody, but it's a true term. He called people house, okay? House, ¿por qué? Because, yes, master. No, master. Lo que quiera el gobierno, the data center. Because they're dumbing down our people, and we're already dumbing up with all the that's happening in our government. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to show y'all again because it was short, and he referenced Malcolm X, right? He says it's a term that Malcolm X used. Now, notice how he apparently used the hard ER. Okay, so I'm going to play it for you again.
Malcolm X coined this term, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody, but it's a true term. He called people house, okay? House, ¿por qué? Because, yes, master. No, master. Lo que quiera el gobierno, the data center. because they're dumbing down our people, and we're already dumbing up with all the shit that's happening in our government. Thank you.
Okay, so again, and then you did hear somebody say, what does that got to do with data centers, right? Now, if you notice in the crowd, it was predominantly Latinos and some whites there. Now, in Laredo, this is their city council, okay? Their city council, they have a Latino mayor, and most of the city council members seem to be Latino, maybe 1, 2 are white. So you see, there's no black folks on that at all. And you did not see any black people there at that particular town hall meeting. Now, I went and did a little bit of digging to figure out what was the demographics there in Laredo. And this is what it says. It says Laredo, Texas has a population that is approximately 95.1% Hispanic or Latino. Non-Hispanic white residents make up about 3.5%. Black or African-American residents comprise 0.4%. Asians account for 0.6%. And other groups make up the remaining percentage. So you can see there a further breakdown. So the reason why I feel like that's important is because not that if there were black people there, he would be referring to them. But it's like, why would you be using that term? Now, I guess he's talking about somebody may be on the dais that may be entertaining these data centers if they come about. But I want to show you what Malcolm said. Now, I will say for full transparency, I bleeped out the word because I just didn't want no issues with YouTube. But he said Negro. Okay, anybody who was familiar with the speech, Negro, the House Negro, Field Negro. He basically did that in Detroit, Michigan. It was titled Message to the Grassroots, November 10th, 1963. And he was talking about the civil rights movement, right? He was, in a sense, likening some of them to the House, or whatever it is. And so I'm going to play y'all what he said so we can get full context.
When black people like me talk to the slaves, they didn't kill them. They sent some old house nigga along behind him to undo what he said. You have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were two kinds. There was that old house and the field. And the house always looked out for his master. When the field got too much out of line, he held them back in check. He put them back on the plantation. The house nigga could afford to do that because he lived better than the field. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. And he could talk just like his master. Good diction. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" When the master's house caught a fire, he'd try and put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. He never wanted his master's property threatened. And he was more defensive of it than the master was. That was the house. But then you had some thieves who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes, they ate the worst food, and they caught hell. They felt the sting of the lash. They hated their master. Oh, yes, they did. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught a fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have households and fields.
Okay, and at the end of that, he says, and I am a field Negro, right? He did finish it off with that. So he's basically talking about that two types of individuals will say that on the plantation during slavery. So he was making the difference, the juxtaposition between the behaviors of the one that was in the house. Usually they were mixed, maybe half massa, right? Because you know what the massa did to the slave women and things like that. And then, of course, the field Negro, as he said, tattered clothes and things like that weren't treated. And I use the word kindly, loosely, because the house one wasn't treated kindly either, but they were treated kinder per se. So with that, he's basically saying that, they was Team Massa in any and every shape and form. He got sick, they prayed for him and things like that. Of course, the field Negro was like, yeah, okay, right? We not gonna miss you if you leave up out of here. So back to the city council meeting there at Laredo, Texas, where you have this Latino. I'm like, okay, for one thing, there's no blacks there. why would you be using that term? And he's repeated it in Spanish. Okay. So why would you be using that term? And y'all don't have a term that y'all could use on your own, to draw the point or whatever it is. Now, I don't know exactly all that was going on. I did not watch the full meeting. As it said, it went over an hour. So it was probably super long from that point. But why would you be using that term, sir? And then again, the people in there, I heard one guy say, well, what does that got to do with the data center? Right. But for the most part, when he finished, everybody clapped. You didn't see anybody jump up and say, hey, you shouldn't be using that term. Like, all the things you should use. But I always ask this. Okay. And I don't put this in the comment. I'm just asking hypothetically, what can we call them? Or what term can we use out in the public square? Right. Because essentially that is the public square. What can we call them and get away with it and that be cool? We couldn't call them anything like that. And so the other thing too is we've heard this conversation before about how people, and I say people, I mean Latinos especially, are so comfortable using that term, whether it's in school, whether it's outside, whether it's everywhere on social media. Sister Brandy showed me a video about a week or so ago of a Latina. She's a rapper. I guess she's terrible, by the way, but she was N-word this, N-word that. And I'm like for real, but again, what term of theirs can we put in our music and everybody be okay? And my thing is this too. Why aren't, let's say, leaders, and we'll say that loosely, why aren't they upset? Again, imagine you go out there and say something derogatory about Latinos, Jews, Asians. You already know, right? They already talking about working on some sort of a hate crime, something for Latinos. The Jews got one. The Asians got a hate crime, this, that, and the other. So, but if that were being done, especially by Black Americans, you already know that everybody and their mama would break their neck to try to, demonstratively speak out against it. Oh, we need to, denounce this and this, that, and the other. But it's just like it's every day. Now, I know some people will say, well, Black people say it. Yeah, what did Joe Biden say? You ain't Black. Okay, you ain't Black. Now, I don't want to make an argument as to whether Black people should say it or not, because I'm one of those people who always say that word was not our word. That word did not originate with us. That came from white folks. Okay. Now, as I always like to give credit to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and James Baldwin, said we did not create the word. But sometimes we act like it. But that's a different story. That's a different conversation. But we're not going to argue over ownership, but we're surely not going to be okay with people using that word. Now, I said I didn't see anybody Black in that meeting. Now, hopefully, if somebody was Black in that meeting, they would have stood up and said, I'm sorry, sucker. That is not a term. And I mean, just think about it. How comfortable he was with using it. Okay. And again, nobody said, hey. Now, I've seen city council meetings. Donovan's been to city council meetings where if somebody says a word, they'll stop you. Oh, you can't say that. Did y'all hear anybody say that? That you can't say that word, cut off the mic and none of that? Everybody is cool with that. So I guess I want to have a conversation. Not that we are, it don't sound like it's that many of us in there in Laredo like that, but what do we have to do to send a message to people that is not okay? Because as I said, you could not call them whatever derogatory name for them, and people think that was okay. Donovan?
All right. Welcome to you guys for spending the time with us. Still hot out there. A lot of fires going off here in California. Pray for those guys that are losing their properties and all that other great stuff. Also, do me a favor. Hit that like and subscribe button, share in your groups. Also, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. Get it on Google Play, Apple Store. And let's keep getting these great conversations out there. I mean, this is a great conversation. First of all, the mayor, depending on what kind of mayor it is, but whoever's running the meeting, usually it's the mayor. The mayor should have called a point of order, and he should have stopped it right there and corrected the verbiage. He can't stop the person from saying what they want to say, but he should have gone to a point of order and corrected the person, basically saying that we don't condone it. It shouldn't be said here, blah, 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 right? What if there's children in there and stuff like that? Even though you can say what you want to say, because there is an actual case that was fought right here in my city. It's called Baca versus, I think, the school board or something like that. And when you go to these meetings, you can curse, you can say whatever you want to say, and if they try to shut you down or kick you out because of what you say, you have a civil lawsuit on their hands. But the mayor should have called a point of order. Also, you guys got to understand, and how many times have we said this? In the Latin community, the Latin diaspora, there is blatant racism in their diaspora, a form of colorism that they do. The lighter the skin, the better, and so on and so forth. So they already have that, and that's instilled in them from when they're little. Yeah, you've got some that'll, they don't have a problem with it, but you ask any of those, even some of your friends that are married to black people, hey, what does make the race better mean? I could almost guarantee you they have a tia or somebody that had told them to stay away from black people, this, that. It's ingrained in their culture. So we've got to accept that, number two. That's why it's obvious to me he was so comfortable saying it. And then when you're in a town where there's a majority of Hispanics, hey, who's going to check me, boo? But here's the thing. It was said by Cesar Chavez many years ago that the wetback is a very, very problem when it comes to immigration. This was said by Cesar Chavez. Now, the mere fact that I quoted Cesar Chavez, does that mean I should use that terminology? Because it's an offensive terminology. No.
And I also want to say, for point of reference, that is also a legal term as well. That was in the verbiage from the government as well. That term, we don't like it, but that's just for content.
Yeah, for legal part. Right. But the point is, as adults, we should have some decorum, especially when you're in a meeting. You're in an official meeting. There's decorum. Decorum. We don't see it in Congress anymore. But the point is, decorum is a way you're supposed to conduct yourself to make the meeting go smoother. What's best for the community. So that term was used by Cesar Chavez. I've heard the word on Sanford and Son. Red Fox used it. Chink. Honky. George Jefferson.
Well, we can't really say all the words on here like that, but I get your sentiment.
Yeah, you guys are getting my point, right? Just because you reference something doesn't mean you should use it. And the point of the matter is, he's so comfortable saying it because, like I've told you guys several times, and I'm not talking to you guys, I'm talking to those guys. When you do not show up at these city council meetings where you're paying taxes, you're paying for the schools, you're paying for the illegals that have moved into your neighborhood and are using your resources, when you do not show up, these are the very people that are making the decisions and undermining your neighborhood, the black neighborhood, because again, how many times have we caught Hispanic council members conspiring against black communities? One was caught here in Los Angeles. One was caught in San Jose, California. A person was caught in the school board down in Miami, Florida. This is what happens when we don't show up, people. They feel so damn comfortable because back in the day of our ancestors, if that would have gone down and a term like that would have been said, there would have been some meeting, and I can't say in the ladies' room, but there would have been some meetings outside with the brothers to go down there and kick a little, you know what I mean? So again, I'm not saying it's our fault, but at the end of the day, are you guys not surprised at the blatant racism? That's why it breaks my heart when I see these ignorant black men and black women out here championing illegal Latinos and all these other things. We are our own ethnic group as FBAs, and their fight is not our fight, and it is evident to me. They have shown us who they are, and I believe them.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, how you doing? Yeah, there's a whole lot of words that he could have used, but that, right? And again, he used the hard ER, and Malcolm didn't use that. He said Negro. Okay, he didn't say that. So it's like, how you quote Malcolm and you not quote Malcolm? He didn't say that. And, out of all the people, he could have quoted, it's like, or the things from Malcolm, you chose that, which is crazy. Right now, as far as black folks showing up, it's just not that many black people there, right? I think it says like less than 3% or 4% or something like that. So yeah. And now Black America, how you doing? You say other channels calling names. Yeah, I'm just not, I think I'm a little bit more educated than to be calling names. My daddy used to always say, never let I'm a classless person outclass you. So I just choose to not do that. Although y'all know I got it in me now. I got it in me. So anyway, because the truth of the matter is, we can't do what they can do. We cannot do that. You see that word from people who aren't black all day on social media. Nobody cares anything about it at all. So I get what you're saying though. Let's see who else. Lance, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. It says more reason why we don't have respect for it. Says Latinos, they are racist AF. Yeah, and I think a lot of people are really learning that now more so. I'm from Southern California, so I kind of already knew that that there's a lot of anti-black sentiment there. For whatever reason, they see themselves above us per se, right? Better than us. They see themselves as white, so they feel like that's one of the ways to get closest to whiteness is to dog out Black Americans, right? Say this, that, and the other, even taking over our spaces and all that other kind of stuff. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Which is why we also have to have a better conversation about gatekeeping, because we in the past have allowed everybody into our spaces. We can't go into their spaces, right, and say or do any of those things. And so we have to get better at that, I would imagine. Let's see who else. Yashawn, what's going on with you? How you doing? What? No, I ain't gonna say that. Michael, it says we can use any derogatory term we want to towards them. They have less than 5th grade education and have nothing better to do than running their mouths about us. Let them know in their language. Yeah, like I said too, and I should probably preface this as best I can. It's not all Latinos. I've actually seen this conversation within the Latino community. A lot of the Chicanos, a lot of them say, hey, that's this new generation, of Latinos. We don't use the word, at least out in the open, they don't anyway, right? So I have seen that discussion between them, like, yeah, that's not all of us that use that word and things like that. So yeah. Let's see, just skipping down. Fair use, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. Lord Chief Jaguar, what's going on? It says, just like they use anti-Semitism, we could claim the same exact thing. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying too. Where is the politicians and things crashing out for us over the use of that word is used everywhere by everybody, and nobody's mad about it. I mean, hell, we saw Chud the Builder and the Latino Chud the Builder, right? He called himself the Mexican Chud the Builder, run around the internet or the America rather, streaming live, antagonizing black folks, calling the N-word and everything. And I didn't hear not one Democrat, Republican, especially the black politicians, say anything about it. But had that been somebody else, doing that to Asians or anybody else, oh my God. I mean, Kanye, he even think about doing something. They, they want to organize against them, right? So, it's just not the same. But as I always say too, the party we give our most loyalty to, I mean black folks collectively, they should be speaking out. They should be on the front line saying, hey, we denounce that and we need to, draw up some legislation to protect Black Americans from that word. But see, the other part of that too is a lot of them people that got their own little laws and stuff, they're okay with that because they run a lot of these businesses that pump out these records that, have that word in it. So Go Count Eyes, what's going on with you? Hope that you are doing well. Sherry, what's up with you? Said it's crazy there, and they're talking about a data center, and we get brought up in some type of way. It has nothing to do with anything. We truly live rent-free in people's minds. Yeah, because somebody up in there He said, what does that got to do with data centers? So somebody in there was, pretty shocked about it, right? Damon says, oh, big time Latino racism. Yeah, especially in California. People think, I don't know why people think, California is, a rainbow and butterflies and stuff. It's like, man, just hang out there for a little bit. That's not feelings. How you doing? It says people who are cool with calling you inhumane names are okay with committing acts of violence against you. Arm yourself and stop supporting their businesses. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. I mean, they really have these full-on conversations as to why they should be able to say the word and it's not that bad. It's like, how do you get to decide what we deem as bad? Sean, what's going on with you? He says, lighten up the race. And which race? Because that's kind of all races, right? Royal Constrictor, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. Sister Sherry says, if the Hispanics get a hate crime bill, I truly believe it's over for Black Americans because now since the Asians have one, all of a sudden they're tough. He says they even out in public calling us the N-word, messing with us is crazy. I never thought we would get to this point. Yeah, I'm not surprised we got to get to this point, but yeah, I saw at a LULAC convention they had not too long ago, Jonathan Greenblatt, I think his name is. He showed up to one of their conventions and said, yeah, they, and I'm paraphrasing, would love to work on a hate crime bill for them. And it's like, really? Okay. So yeah. D-Max says, I went to a Dominican shop today and I thought we were going to have a problem. Your people, Donovan. Yeah, that's Donovan's people for sure. King Noble, how you doing? Says South Texas will always be Mexico headquarters. Yeah, Laredo, yeah. But I'm like, you don't even have a point of reference to be using that word like that. So what are you doing, sir? Buckhorse says Red Fox and George, it was real foundational Black Americans and coined it. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let me see who else is on here. Then Donovan, you can jump in whenever. I think I've seen everybody so far. I just want to give everybody a moment. Scoopy says it's enough of them that do use the word, and anything over 50% is a majority. Anything over 1% is a majority, right?
How many of you guys saw that lady who was in the country, who's been in the country, and this goes back to their ignorance. It goes, like I said, you look at a lot of these immigrants, what they're saying does not make sense logically, because if you take exactly what they're saying in regards to staying here in America and whatever, and you apply it to you doing the same thing to their country, they would say, no, that's not right. You can't do that. We got laws and rules you got to respect, but they don't do this. How many of you guys saw that lady who's been here since 1989? She has businesses, she employs everybody, and she cannot speak a word of English. And she is demanding that people like her who've been here for 7 years get a pathway to citizenship. And Hakeem Jeffries was standing right next to her. How many of you guys saw that?
I didn't see that. And thank you, Mike and DMAC, for reminding people there's ways to help the channel. Love and appreciate you. And yes, Buckhorse, I actually only got about 45 minutes of sleep last night, because I stayed up to watch Clarissa T-Rex, right? Fight Kay Scott or whatever it is. And yeah, I was glad I stayed up, but I'm telling you, I am washed. I'm tired. I feel like Kay Scott, right? When Clarissa took it to her, that's how I imagine Kay Scott feels, but it was a hell of a fight. And I didn't doubt that she would win, but boy, I tell you, she is a heck of an individual. There is nobody like Clarissa.
I'm gonna have to disagree. I saw the fight when I got back from the winery, and this is just my opinion. Fundamentally, she's a great fighter. She does not have knockout power. And what people keep forgetting is this about it. This is my opinion, you guys. You don't agree with me, you don't agree with me. It is unfortunate that she has nobody to fight. There's nobody to fight. Again, I agree. She'll go into a weight class and clear it out, but she doesn't have knockout power. And I guess Kay Scott is 42 years old. It's just this era of female boxing. There is not a lot of fighters, especially when you're a little heavier at a higher weight class. Now, Alicia Baumgardner, in that weight class where women are pretty much universally the same, there's a lot of people to fight in that era. But for Clarissa Shields, it's just unfortunate. She doesn't really have a lot of people to fight. So, I mean, it was a great fight, but did we already know the outcome? Of course we did. I mean, it was just whatever. And then you would think bum of the week, knock her out. Clarissa Shields, just like Layla Ali said, she just doesn't have knockout power. Layla Ali was knocking girls out in her era. The woman retired with 21 knockouts or something like that.
Yeah, she didn't. She got a TKO. It was considered a TKO.
It's a TKO. Yeah. But what I'm saying is she doesn't have knockout power. Just as a boxer, she doesn't have it.
Yeah, well, she got it last night. She had TKO. And speaking of Layla Ali, she turned down $15 million. She was bumping her gums, about Clarissa. And then when they put the money up, she went radio silent. So I was like, you know what? And I don't want to get off on a tangent. One thing I love that Clarissa won is because not only did she defeat Kay, she defeated a whole lot of y'all. This is why I'm gonna get in trouble. I don't care. She defeated a whole lot of hating Black women out there who any and everything that woman do, they just cannot stand it. Clarissa was 30, 31. She's young in the larger scheme of things. And no one, man or woman, has the accolades that she has. Okay. And the other thing that I really love is just the fact. Okay. And the other thing that I love is seeing those Black men on the side of that ring, Mayweather, Shakur and all the other boxers just cheering her on, right? That really sent chills up my spine, because I'm like, that is such a beautiful thing to see these brothers, right? And who are great at what they do in that sport. Like, she sold out the arena, okay? And they said that was the first time, if I'm not mistaken, in history that a woman boxer headlined an event and sold out, the whole arena. So it is said that Clarissa is doing great things for the boxing sport for women and things like that. But yeah, I just thought that was amazing to see.
Yeah, and for reference, she's been undisputed in 5 weight classes, and I think last night was her 21st belt. She's got 21 belts, less than 18 fights now, whatever the deal is. And I think last night she gave the belts back to Scott last night. I'm not sure if that was sanctioned or whatever, but she went behind after the fight was over and gave the woman back the belts, because I don't think she's going to stay at that weight. I don't think she can, with her frame, but she gave the belts back.
Well, I ain't heard that, but nevertheless, she won. Whether she keep the belts or not, she won.
No. What I'm saying is her class as a boxer. She's like, look, I beat you. I'm undisputed. Yeah, I'm now the champ, but I'm probably not going to stay at this weight. I'm going to give you the belts back, and you just do what you do. It's just, how many boxers do that? Once you win, you keep the belt. But she went back and said, hey, because she's probably not going to stay at that weight. She's probably not. It's just her frame. She can't do it.
She came down from 175 or so, and it took her a while to do it. And she finally, was able to come down. I guess she normally trained 6 weeks, but she trained 12 or whatever it was. So yeah. Hey, Travis, how you doing? So Don nailed it perfectly about Shields. There are no Ann Wolves, Layla Ali, or Christy Martin to fight. Shields fights all low skill belt holding bombs. Well, is that her fault? Or is that their fault that there's nobody to box? Again, she put up 15 to 20 million for Layla Ali, and she studded on the gas right after she was bumping her gum. So don't say, because Layla Ali was out there running her mouth, talking about she could beat her and all this other stuff, and take her 15 to 20 million to show up and say, here you go, cold hard cash. And what? She didn't show up. So it's like, I hear what people are saying. And Travis, I'm not saying this about you. I love you to death. I'm not saying this about you, but I hear that argument a lot. It's like, man, get that Black woman her flowers. Get that. She got a whole lot of people. I'm not saying this about you, Travis or Donovan. I'm just saying, get that Black woman her flowers. Okay. No, and not only that, if you guys have seen her movie, it's an amazing movie. Before she, did what she did, I won't give it away. Women weren't getting paid what they're getting paid now. She not only demanded that she gets paid, a good amount of money to go train all those other things. She says all the other women need to get it too. And they agreed, whoever the boxing federation, whatever it is, they agreed. So I just think, and I'm just saying this for me, because I see this a lot. We got to stop moving the goalposts when I come to our people. There's nobody on planet Earth, whether she's fighting bums, whether she's fighting 10 Layla Ali's, there's nobody on this planet that holds the titles that Clarissa has. Just give that lady her flowers. Because anything else is, to me, it's just a little bit on the salty side. I'm thinking. Philly to Don, what's going on with you? I love Clarissa too. She got a hell of a story. I really do love her. And it's sad that you have so many people, but that's just kind of, unfortunately, I hate to say this, it's kind of our nature a little bit. You know, you see somebody doing great things, and like I said, I see a lot of black women doing it, and it's like, wow. That's the group of people who talk about they the most disrespected, unprotected, and it's like, but you never talk about when you do it to each other, huh? Black Plumber, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. Corey said, I absolutely love her. Me too. Kim, how you doing? Says you saw that too. You saw it with the brothers that was rooting for her. Yeah, that was, I mean, I'm telling you, I could just watch that over and over. Oh, but what's going on with you? I hope that you're doing well. Polo Styles, you said, yeah, Ali is old, but she wasn't old enough to be bumping her gum. See, but people tell the story wrong, like Clarissa was messing with her. No, Ali kept on bringing her up, like kind of shady, right? And so they was like, okay, bet, here go the money. Show up since you think you can still whoop me. You might be able to do that, but we'll never know unless you get into the ring. So we, you know, and from what I understand, Layla Ali, the highest purse she ever fought for, don't quote me, but I think about $250,000. So it's like, wow, I'd have showed up for that. You know what I mean? So yeah.
You know what? You gave me a great idea. We need to start training. She's gonna need another opponent. We can make some money off of that.
That's okay. I'll take some lumps, okay? Because that lady had lumps all over her forehead last night. I know when she got in that ring, she got that first lump. She was probably like,
yeah, as a matter of fact, she came to California this morning. She landed this morning in California.
Okay. So they can compress them knots on her forehead.
Well, they do say heat does help get the swelling down.
Man, they threw all the towels in the ring. Okay. Her team was like, okay, hell no, hell. She's done. She's done. D-Max says every boxer actually keeps their belts. Even when they lose, they make ones for the new champion. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, she is acknowledged right now as the middleweight champion, whatever situation. I'm just saying it was a cool gesture on her. Because if you look at it, to me, it kind of showed complete dominance. Think about when America goes into a country and we say, here's your leader, just keep your butt, but here's your leader.
Got it. And Buckhorse, I totally agree with you. They're both champions. But Black America, shut up. Talk about this. This is some feminine stuff. Why? What's feminine about me speaking the facts about her accolades? Why is that feminist? I bet you she'll whoop your butt. I bet you Clarissa will tear you up, sock you out. Sister Shirley, what's going on with you? Hope that you're doing well. Travis says Shield's unfounded, almost delusional greatness is why she's hated. She's unfounded. Shields, I think it says Shields is unfounded, almost delusional greatness is why she's hated. I'm not sure what that means. You said she's delusional in her greatness. Is that what you're saying? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to misquote you.
I don't know about you guys, but what I want to see, the fight I want to see is her versus Baumgardner. If they could, but I think it would be impossible for her to get that small. Even if they met at a catch weight, that fight would make a lot of money. That would make a lot of money.
Yeah. Sylvia, how you doing? Says he's doing what everyone is doing, using certain words. Otherwise, they have no momentum. You talking about the guy at the city hall meeting. Okay. Margaret, what's going on with you? Says I hope FBA stop using the N-word, no matter how you spell it. It's a degrading word towards our ancestors and us. It's not endearing rather, and sounds disgusting. I totally agree. That's not a word we should use. You know, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I use it every once in a while. I'm trying to get better at cleaning up my vocabulary. Of course, I never try to do any of that on here. But yeah, I agree with you. And it's definitely not something I use in a public square at all. But it's just so, you know, I hate to say it, normalized, but that's the only word that's normalized. But you can't normalize any other words against anybody else, which is crazy, right? Mama T was good. Says, I like Clarissa. I do too. I really do. She's got a hell of a story. I mean, not just boxing, but just her whole story. She's a survivor at such a young age. She's had to, you know, really endure a lot. And it's sad to see people just bullying her. But, you know, that's kind of how it is. You know, my mom used to always say it's lonely at the top, you know, and then I guess at the bottom is a bunch of haters, you know, trying to bring you down, calling her ugly and a whole host of other stuff. It's like, that's all y'all got? Call somebody ugly? Like she said, when I go into the ring, I don't have all that on. I purposely take off, you know, the hair, the makeup, the nails. I want to be able to whoop ass, okay? I'm not out there trying to be glamorous. And she even talked about that in her movie. You know, she's a two-time Olympian, right? She talked about that I won't give it away if you haven't seen the movie, but the glamour part of it. And she was like, "Man, I'm a boxer. I get punched in the face." You know, what are we doing here?
Well, remember that time in high school where you brought your gym shoes and the Vaseline? What was that about?
You know what? I ain't never had to do that, but I would if I had to. Okay, I can fight even to this day. My daughter tell you too. She be like, "Boy, you be looking." I don't be looking for a fight. I went to a concert a week or so ago. I went and saw Masego. My daughter and I, and it's at the House of Blues. That's not one of my favorite places out here to see a concert, but I figured, you know, it wasn't terrible. But you know, it's standing room only. So there's one girl, young lady, I should say. Now we were there about an hour or so early. But this one young lady, she gonna stand right in front, was in front of me, but next to the girl that was already there. So the girl turns around, she goes, "Was she here already?" I said, "No, she literally shimmied her way, because we're at the front, right? Shimmied her way to the front and stood there." She goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Tell her to move," right? Because I'm about that life. I said, "Tell her to move." And she says, "Okay." So she tapped her on the shoulder. And she was like, "Hey, you jumped right in front of me." And the girl that she jumped in front of was short. And the girl that, you know, that cheated, if you will, cutting line was tall. So the girl that's cutting line was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry." I said, she said, "Move." We were standing here for hours. She cannot see, and you need to move. And she moved. My daughter's like, "I can't take you nowhere." I said, "You're right. Because I can't stand a bully, even if it's something so subtle. Like you literally stood in front of this lady and then talking about, 'I'm sorry.' Donovan already tell you, I'm with the stuff when it comes to being disrespected."
You guys, I'm gonna have to co-sign on that. We were in South Africa, in an international incident. We landed in the Seychelles, and we couldn't even get off the plane without Demetra about to go off on this South Africaner.
Because she was tripping, okay? I don't know who you talking to, homegirl, but I'm from Southern California, okay? I'm not from South Africa, okay? You better rearrange your understanding before you get rearranged for ya. Anyway, they have someone's going on with you, says it's all world. We foundational Black Americans, all world. Okay, well, stake your claim then. Stake your claim. Brother Travis says there's about a 30-pound weight difference between Shields and Baumgartner. He says Raquel Pretty Beast Miller is closer in weight with a record 14-0. She has a championship belt. Yeah, y'all speaking above my head now, right? But yeah, you know, for right now, Clarissa, she's the GOAT, right? The greatest woman of all time. And it's just a fact. It just is, you know. Jesse, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Brother Damon says, so yeah, I got them hands. I know how to defend myself. I've always known how to defend myself. Always. From a little bitty girl, right?
Well, you are your father's daughter. That is for damn sure. And we know your father's reputation.
That's right. My daddy used to always say, ain't no such thing as no fair fight, okay? People saying, well, you can't scratch, kick, bite. He was like hell, you can't, okay? Mr. 100 all day was going on. Says we didn't realize how much we were degrading ourselves using that word. Says rappers, entertainers, comedians, even the late Paul Mooney realized our degradation from that word. Yeah, you know, and it just really, unfortunately, been normalized, you know, but that's just unfortunately, and I hate to say this, but par for the course when it comes to Black Americans. Many people feel like it's okay to disrespect us because, again, we get mad and then we get comfortable and then we quit, right? We haven't really stood 10 toes down on a lot of things. But like I said, where are politicians? If again, and I'm going to keep saying that, it hadn't been any other group of people that a derogatory word about them was being thrown around, you'd be in trouble, okay? You go to jail or something would happen to you. But Black folks, you know, all up on social media, whether it's Twitter, you know, it's Facebook, wherever it is, people just spew the word, use the word, whether they're Black, you know, Latino, Asians, or whatever it is. And it just, you know, what I know for sure is if we don't respect ourselves, nobody else is going to do it. So we have to respect ourselves first.
Well, the funny thing is, it's because, and like I said, I'm not saying it was the wrong thing to do. The nonviolence and the Black church is like, you know, turn the other cheek. And we preach this to our children to where we basically disarmed ourselves from, you know, dealing with the situation at hand. You know what I mean? And a lot of these other groups see that. They know we're going to forgive them. Oh, black people. I think Malcolm X said it best. He said it's unfair to go up to a person non-violently and they got a club in their hand.
Yeah. It's just Sherry says, I just hate the fact that she's with Papoose. I believe he's going to try to take all her money now. He has tattooed her name on his body. I don't trust this dude one bit. Why not? You don't mind me asking. Why not? What has Papoose done to anybody to warrant that? Why? Because Remy, put him out there bad, wrote this narrative. If you know anything about Papoose, and I don't think a lot of people do, Papoose mind his business. Papoose don't be out there doing all of that. That was Remy that, got mad. And I not to, because I don't like the gossip, but I have to say Remy's the one that started this foolishness, and people who don't know what's going on, has put a bad narrative on Papoose. But my thing is this. Yeah, people think that he's going to take advantage of Clarissa and take her money. Did he do that to Remy when he was holding her down when she went to prison for shooting?
Exactly. He's a loyal dude. He held that woman down. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then he gave up his own career in a sense. And if you don't know anything about Papoose, he's one of the coldest MCs out there. He just didn't take off because, as he said, I kind of put everything on the back burner. He said he moved to be closer to her when she was sentenced to prison. This is Remy, right? The one that's out there telling y'all he's a bad dude. Put his career on hold to hold her down, and now people are running around with this false narrative. But let's say he did do that. That's for Clarissa to deal with. It's like, and I'm saying this about you, Sister Sherry, but what I'm saying is people, they don't even know what's going on in their own household, but yet they want to try to figure out everybody else stuff. That's one thing I hate about the internet. Don't nobody really know what they got going on in their relationship. But if she like it, we love it, right? And it seemed like he's helping her and this, that, and the other. He helped her get the boxing deal with, win whatever it is, right? So he's very instrumental in helping her do that. So I just think we got to be careful when we demonize people off of rumors, because if you want to get into rumors, and I know this all came from Remy's the one that stepped down on that man first. After that man held her down all that time and put his career on the back burner, and she get out there and acting a fool. So I just think we should be careful. Let's see. 17. How you doing? Says Clarissa definitely did her thing. She did. Yeah, I don't get the trying to diminish her. I don't get it. It's the humbling is what it is. I think people try to humble her, and that they can't humble her because for once they don't have the ability to humble her. They get mad at that she won't just bow down and say, okay, I'm all that you guys say I am. But nobody did that to Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Ali was one of the most arrogant people, and rightfully so, right? But it seems to be this humbling of her. Oh, she should just be quiet. Oh, why? How do you think a person could really go into the ring and do what she does if she's meek and mild? No, you got to know who you are. You can't let the internet, these people who are mad at her, she ain't never met these people before. Was she supposed to let them define her and she get in there and get her behind whooped because she didn't acquiesce to foolishness from the internet? That's not what champions do.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. Muhammad Ali basically was the first one to buck the system because he lost a lot of money because of the system. He wouldn't do what it is the system wanted him to do. That's why one of the reasons why he didn't declare for the draft, because most champions, Joe Louis, you could go back, whatever, are supposed to represent the United States in the military. And he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But one of his movies, I think it's called The Greatest, he kind of addressed that, where the white woman was like, hey, I hate you, this is that. And he was like, what did I do to you? What did I do to you? And in the movie, he plays himself. Really bad acting, but, it's Muhammad Ali in the 70s. And, he really bucked the system. I mean, he didn't get the support. Only a few famous correspondents really covered him. One of them was Howard Cosell. The rest of the people basically shut the door to hype his fights and stuff. As a matter of fact, the rematch to the Sonny Liston fight, they couldn't even get it sanctioned because when he became a Muslim, they shut the door on him all over the place. That rematch fight took place up in New York in an almost unknown place, and it wasn't even sold out. So he was one of the very first to fight the system. As you already know that.
Yeah, I'm saying as far as him being arrogant, I'm the greatest and all that other stuff. Yeah, nobody was, they didn't like it, but it's just humbling. And April, how you doing? You say he did. When Remy got home, her money was substantially low because of Pap. Pap didn't hold nothing down. Pap was, well, how was she making money? What she did, like 6-7 years in penitentiary? And Remy's career wasn't doing all of that when she went in. See that, but that's what she tell you though. But if see this other thing too, I'm not a genius. At least I've been told I am. I disagree with it, but now she telling y'all he took her money after she got out. They got married, had a daughter, and stayed together for years. And all of a sudden, oh, he stole her money. If y'all don't knock it off, see, we need y'all to do some deductive reasoning around here. Now, all of a sudden, that he don't want to be back with her because he got a new woman. Oh, he all these bad things. Y'all gotta be smarter than that. Like, honestly,
so that's the playbook. That's the playbook. When the man doesn't, go moves on with his life. Oh, he a bum. He this, he that. This that. Michael B. Jordan. Oh, when he left Lori Harvey. That's what I'm saying. This is the woman, the feminist playbook. You just hate on the man because he's going to go have a happy life. I mean, it is what it is. That is the playbook. You look at most of these women that run down these men because they screwed up. That's the playbook.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like think about it. Like I said, I don't like really getting into the mud because don't nobody really know what's going on. But if you just go with that, they got married when she got out and he stayed together for some years and had a daughter. Now all of a sudden she's telling people that he stole money from her. It's like y'all gotta really, and I'm saying this in love. I really am. Okay, we gotta really work on ourselves because a lot of that is it's very hateful. It comes from a hateful place to where you just believe any and everything. Ain't nobody ever heard nothing about Papoose and no negative light until Remy found out he was with Clarissa. Then she put him out there right like that. But nobody heard nothing like that before about him. But all of a sudden, y'all, calling this man feminine and, all this other stuff. And it's like, we really got to check ourselves. We really do. But no smoke for Remy though, right? None for her. None at all.
Yeah, remember when she got that young rapper? They were like, oh, yeah, he's better than, Papoose, girl, move on, do your thing, girl. Yeah, get you a youngin', whatever. And then that relationship, I guess, didn't work out. Or what? You see what I'm saying? That's the playbook. And as fellas, we know the playbook. The minute we leave a chick to go have a nice life, here comes the additional child support. Here comes this. Oh, I need this. A good example, Brittany Renner and the guy, her baby daddy. He signs a big contract. She wants more money. The NBA star that female that just tried to get more child support, and the judge threw it out. This is the playbook. This is, we fellas know it, but until you ladies start calling this stuff out, it's just going to be issues.
Talking about Anthony Edwards, where she kept on trying to take him back for more money, and the judge is like, "You getting $3,000 a month."
She ended up getting less money. Exactly.
Right. Tutweet was going on. She says the slave revolt of 1526 occurred at San Miguel and de Guadalupe, first Spanish settlement in the continental United States. Happy 500-year anniversary fighting white supremacy. All right, well, come on with the history. I didn't know about that one, but thank you for that. Brian says internalizing the reflexes make a great fighter. Your form and movements are second nature, like autopilot. Yeah, not everybody can do that, right? I've been and had a broken nose, got punched in the forehead, throat, and all kind of stuff trying to fight her. One who cares. How you doing? Hope you're doing well today. April, I mean, whether Remy's career was doing well or not when she went in, like I said, y'all got to stop believing foolishness. I know it's easy to believe that, the Pap was the, horrible guy, but she wasn't saying that stuff until she found out that he had another woman. See, that's kind of what it is, whether it's men or women. Sometimes when people move on and, you didn't want the man, right? Didn't want the woman, but you find out they move on and now you going to be a problem. It's like, just take it on the chin and keep it pushing. The man don't want to be with you no more. Just deal with that. But now she's going to try to, as I say, try to pull his pants down the middle of the street and embarrass him all over. It's like, you wasn't just saying that stuff about it before, but see, like I said, she do that for y'all because she know that y'all won't think for yourself. Like, man, you didn't have a problem with this man until you found out that he was with the quote. Now all of a sudden he good for holding person. That is disrespectful. A man held you down all that time. You went and you didn't have any emotional intelligence. You went and pew with a woman, right? Most people would be like, oh, hell no. You a loose cannon, right? But he held her down and she got out there and was wagging her tail around. And then he didn't want to be with her. Now she put him out there. Now all of a sudden, see, just deal with that. He don't want to be with you. Okay. Leave it at that. But to try to destroy the man or this, that, and the other, and y'all believe that, y'all, boy, but she do that for y'all, though. She do that because she knows she has an audience that will not do any deductive reason and say, wait a minute, he was cool until you found out that he didn't want to be with you no more. And now he's got a young, hot, tenderoni. Oh, now all of a sudden he's a bad dude. Y'all got to start thinking for yourself. I promise you, when you do that, man, the world is going to look a lot more clear.
Yeah. How many of you guys heard about that chick that divorced her husband, right? Irreconcilable differences, right? Got a divorce, got a legal divorce. He won the lottery months later, and she wants half the money. You can't make this stuff up.
Listen, baby, on second thought, I was just playing.
No, she wasn't trying to marry him. She was suing to get half the money because she felt I was married to him, so I should be entitled to that money. He won that money after you were divorced.
Oh, I'm just playing. Can we all just get along? Damn, you ain't gonna spend it all. I mean, April, I'm not trying to listen. I'm not in the people business like you are. I don't hate Pap. I don't hate Remy. I hate what she's doing. But I mean, that's for them to figure out. At the end of the day, it's more Black people fighting in the public square. That's what that is. And there's an audience for it, unfortunately. Like, I would think that people have other things to do and say, hey, I wish y'all both luck, whatever it is. But I just think it's jacked up for her to, try to drag him through the middle of the street because he did not want to be with her anymore. She sounds like she was like, hey, let's get back together. And he's like, no, I'm good. And from that point, she goes on live and, it's spewing all this stuff. But again, she wasn't doing that before, was she? I mean, really, y'all got to start thinking for yourself. But for y'all, it's entertainment. But they got a little girl and they got children, from other relationships and stuff that are watching this stuff unfold. And y'all are entertained by this. But this has real consequences. And Remy's damn near 50, right? Closer to 50 than she is to 30. Clarissa's 30 something, 30, 31. Remy's an old lady in the larger scheme of things. When do older women, I'm an older woman, so I'm saying this, sincerely, when do older women become the pillar of the community? I get tired. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I'm gonna try to really bridle my tongue because I get passionate about this. But I'm really tired of seeing older Black women act like little girls, act like little teenagers. And that's what's wrong with our women and our young women and our girls is the older women, because the older women ain't got the sense God gave her cricket out there doing the same thing that the younger girls are doing, right? The younger women back in the day, when I was coming up, I could tell the older women from the younger women because the older women tend to carry themselves a little bit differently. There's things that they would not be caught doing in the public square, whether it's a bonnet, cussing, acting a fool, or whatever it is. Now, Glow Dean might have had a man on the side, but that wasn't your business, right? She didn't publicize that to everyone because she cared about the representation that she was putting forward for everybody else that was watching her. But nowadays, you got grown women who probably got great grandchildren talking about Remy and Papoose and Clarissa. It's like, really? This is what y'all care. Y'all supposed to be bringing reason. Say, hey, y'all knock this off. Where are the older people in the situation? But the older people are in the dog pile. Like Betty Wright. She says back in the day, I'm paraphrasing, when that everybody found heard that you and Mr. Charlie was having an issue, they cooked some food, right? Bring it over, try to keep y'all together. But now you got old women in the comment section tussling over some young people stuff. Where is the wisdom? Older Black women, I'm asking y'all, where is the wisdom? Where is the wisdom of our ancestors? The older women who would say, hey, not too much. You're getting beside yourself. Where are those women?
I'm gonna have to co-sign on that. I went to the Shantae Moore concert last night at the winery, and I'm not lying, you guys. I am not lying. I never seen so many. Most of the people there were my age and older. Demetra's too young because she's only 25, so we didn't have a lot of youngsters that know anything about Shantae Moore, right? So my point is, she's not lying, dude. I was there. You're at a winery to see Shantae Moore and Jazz. I never saw so many hookers and hoes dressed up, drunk, acting a damn fool, cursing, weed smelling. And I'm looking at this and I was just like, these people raise children. Most of them. I'm going to assume most of them raise children. And you guys know I'm not lying. If you guys been to places like that, and I just couldn't believe it. Just the ghetto-ness, and you're at a concert and you, yeah, girl, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was unbelievable. And just to see a woman that maybe might be 60 years old in a hooker dress that doesn't have the body for it, you get a little older, you're going to put on some weight and stuff like that. I'm talking about, it was a mess, you guys. It was a mess. The concert was great. Shantae looked awesome. She sang like you hear her on the record. She's a true singer. Had no idea Shantae Moore, and she said this last night, I mean, she's going to be 60 years old this year. She still looks good. Still looks good. But there were women out there that were just huge and just flat boobs everywhere. It was, you're a grandma, like you said, great grandma, tattoos all up, trauma tattooed up. I was just like, wow, these women think they look classy, and you've got ghetto tattoos on your arm. You got the lunch lady arms. I don't mean to talk about people like that, but that's what I saw. So I'm a co-sign on that. You're absolutely right.
And I want to put this up here. I will, King Lee, I will. April, you say, and I'm not, we're just having a discussion. He says, and I ain't no further in a business than anyone else aware of the situation, thanks to simply logging on social media. I mean, I don't know if you're in the business or not, but you seem, a little bit invested in one side or the other. Like I said, I don't like to see Black people fighting in public or anywhere for that matter. And it just sounds like it's just two people who, for whatever reason, didn't stay together. But there's no need to demonize people. And, I don't think it's very hard. You follow the bouncing ball. Sounds like one of them is pretty salty, right? I mean, like I said, Remy, she should be seen as the, sense of matriarch, right? But she's arguing with a 30-year-old. The 30-year-old in that, dichotomy is the one that doesn't know any better, right? I'm not saying that Clarissa doesn't, but Remy should be, for whatever reason, I don't know if she doesn't have anything to say to her, just, rise above it. You don't want the man or whatever it is. You going on making all these diss songs and all this other foolishness you got going. It's like, grow up. You got a little girl. You got a little girl, and for understand, or I heard, right, that she put her daughter on the rap, on a diss song. She included her daughter in the music. And it's like her daughter's what, 5, 6, 7? Why? You're like, what are you teaching your baby? To fight with other Black women? What, like, for real? We got enough salty, catty Black women and girls out there. At what point do we get back to what our ancestors used to do? And I say our ancestors, like my mama, my grandmama, great grandmamas, they had some sense. You knew who those women were. It wasn't a conglomerate of women like, damn. And I use the term, Donovan used it once, who's the hoe? Who's a housewife? You can't even tell no more. Not just because how she dressed, but how she talked, how she thinks, just her whole attitude, right? Where are the upstanding women that could command some respect to say, hey, young lady, hey, I don't think you should be doing that, right? Because I'm one of those people, like I said, I got hands, right? Because I might have to fight, for simply saying something to somebody. You might have to square up or whatever it is. But see, my heart don't pump no Kool-Aid. If I see something, I'm going to say something, right? I'm not afraid of these, whatever is out there, whatever the case is. But we like, I don't know. I feel sad for Remy because you're almost 50 years old and you're carrying on like a teenager. And she's got women who are clapping for her doing that. Y'all, I say y'all, I'm saying not you, April, or whoever. I'm saying y'all are the problem. What are you teaching your babies? That's all I'm asking. I'm gonna sit here sweating. My air is on now. Let's see who else is on here. Sherry, you say, I don't go by what Remy says. Yes, he was a good dude to her. She would never get another man like him. I just don't want no one to take advantage of Clarissa. I like both of them. He needs to get, get divorced. They sound like that. I don't know. They're working on it or whatever it is, but they're not together. They're not together. It doesn't sound like Clarissa took. See, then Sherry, I love you, and this is not toward you at all. It's not. It's not. Please don't take this the wrong way. It's not toward you. I just think we real picky and choosy nowadays. We get real picky and choosy. And I just use Cardi B in them for a reference. Cardi B does some of the most filthiest things on the planet. You can look up and Cardi B got on 2 cotton balls and a Band-Aid and she gets applauded for her degenerate behavior. But Clarissa, who is a boxing champion, actually, got some real talent, if you want to call it that. And you know what? Charleston White, who I don't listen to or I don't follow, but I saw people reposting it. I think he hit the nail on the head. He said it's colorism. He said because Cardi B and Lotto, allegedly she's got the same situation that they're on Clarissa's head for. Lotto's light skinned. Cardi B is light skinned, but Clarissa is a dark skinned woman, but everybody on her. And he says it's colorism. And I said, well, you kind of got to maybe look at it from that vantage point. That is it colorism? Because she's a dark chocolate woman. And I think she's beautiful, but y'all know what beauty is nowadays. It's the wigs, the weave, the makeup, the this, is all of that. Now, does Clarissa do that sometimes? Yes, but she's a boxer. Like she said, my eye box, okay? It's not a beauty pageant, right? So, yeah, there might be some of that going on. But as far as Papoose taking advantage of her, I mean, if he did, it doesn't hurt anybody else but Clarissa. She's a grown woman. Clarissa has gone through a lot. I impress upon people to watch her movie, and you can see she's not just some weak little, silly little girl. She actually has a hell of a life story. And y'all should watch it. Stop going with the narratives on the internet. You really should watch it. Reginald, I know some Donovan said about some damn funny bill. He got problems. Clifford, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Keisha, what's going on? Says just got here. What was the anti-black term? The house N-word. I'll play the video for y'all in just a second. Let me get down in the comments a little bit. Me mind you says wear what you want, but act like you got some sense. Yeah, boy, I tell you what, I went to the mall the other day and I said, I'll be damned if there's a lady in this thing it looked like some panties. And she had her children with her. I made a video about it. Me and my daughter we just could not believe it. And I said, you know what? I really think they need a dress code everywhere. They need a no ma'am person at the door. No ma'am, no sir. You not coming up in here like that. Where's the rest of your clothes, ma'am? Just strolling through the mall with her children, just booty.
Wait, what's the kind of movie? Norbert, ma'am, do you have the bottoms on? Of course I do.
I mean, she had a nice, shape and stuff, but it's like keep that, booty cheeks was everywhere. It was crazy. Eric, thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. That's a hell of a donation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm trying my best. As y'all see, I sweat like a preacher. Because it's just so hot. But I love and appreciate you for that. Thank you so much. Haunted House John, it says, and Remy was the one who cheated, not him. Yeah, I don't know. I heard, I'm not really that far into the weeds. I know how it is when people get scorned, right? They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. And boy, I tell you what, a woman that feels like, you did something to her. Oh yeah. She gonna make sure everybody around you is gonna get it, but to me, the constantly needling of Clarissa, I just think it's a lot. And I just wish that somebody would say, hey, you know what? I think you probably need to find something a little bit more productive to do. Like I said, with the video she made, me and Remy, she got in the car with the all the boxers or some of the boxers that Clarissa fought. It's like fought and won and beat. So I don't know what kind of a flex that was, but it's like, don't you got something else to do? And I think Remy's a great rapper, right? And she's a good rapper. But you're going to spend your whole time fighting with a person who's not really fighting with you. And like somebody said, if you really wanted to, see what you made of, put on some gloves and get in the ring with her. Right. But see, you ain't going to do that because it's all good when you're thumb thugging on the internet and you on videos doing this, that, and the other. No, but if you really want to be about that life, get in the ring. Otherwise, shut up. Because take us out the group chat. You know what I mean? Well, the ones who don't want to be up in there. Travis Said sad to hear about the winery near you. I've been to one in Atlanta twice, and it was very upscale and full of classy Black people. I spent less than $80 for 2 people. Yeah,
Oh no, we paid more for one ticket. Just the ticket was $126. So that was just a ticket, and I was in general seating.
Yeah. I always make a joke and say that's why I don't go outside much, and I really don't, because it's just outside be outsiding. It'd be a lot going on, and I know me, so I don't really go outside much. But when I do, it's a rare occasion. But yeah, I hate to hear that was the experience. I wish we would really get back to acting like we got some sense when we're outside. There used to be a such thing as how you act in the house and how you act when you're outside. And nowadays people don't draw the line. They act a fool outside. Any and everything goes. And it's like, man, wow, you just don't give a damn, do you? And we should care how people see us. So I don't know. But I think really they're going to have a dress code in places and say, they used to. I'm 55. I'm older. I'm not that old, but I remember, Donna, if you remember, what did they say on the door of restaurants? What was it saying?
No shirt, no shoes, no service.
No jacket even. Right? Something you had to have a sports coat or something on.
Or even going to a club, you had to have a collared shirt on.
Yep.
No jeans, no tennis shoes or something, depending on where you're going. Mm-hmm.
That was standard. So everybody kind of already knew that you wasn't going to try to go into a restaurant or an establishment looking crazy. You was going to, at least be casual. But nowadays it's like, now you know damn well that ain't no outside clothes. Those are pajamas, drawers. Whatever would make you think you should wear that outside. I don't get it. Like, I'm kidding you not. One time my daughter and I was coming out of Target, and there was a sister. She was with 2 other people. I kid you not. She had on a full-on terry cloth bath robe. She was a heavier sister. She couldn't close the robe all the way, so she kind of had it closed a little bit. And she had on like a pajama set with like a bra and some underwear. And my daughter like elbowed me, like, I wasn't going to say nothing, but my eyes probably was like, and I wondered, would they let her walk around Target like that? I left, so I don't know if they did, but I was just curious as if that would be okay. I wouldn't think it would be, but she left the house and got in the car and got out of the car like that. So that's kind of crazy. Philly the Don, did I say hi to? If not, hello, but I say it twice if I didn't. Mad Dog says, tell Remy to step in. Come on now, I should raise your comment. Step in the ring. That'll settle it all, right? In the best woman wins or whatever it is, and then we just go on from there. And the other thing too is, I heard Smokey Robinson say it. Nipsey said it. Says you don't own people, okay? When you are no longer with that person, people are allowed to move on. Does it hurt to see somebody move on with somebody? Yeah, I'm sure it does, but that's just the way it is. You don't have ownership over people, and I kind of think that Remy kind of maybe has a little bit of that going on. Maybe she feels like I have some ownership over him, but it's like you have to let him go, right? If he doesn't want to be with you, that sounds like you didn't want to be with him. Well, what are we doing here? It's getting silly. Like I said, you're damn near 50 and you acting like that. Wow.
While we're wasting time on the women, let's waste some time on the real boxing last night. The Ray J. Orlando Brown scrimmage.
I didn't see that. I didn't know they're fighting.
These dudes are out of shape. I was like, why would you, being in entertainment, not saying you got to be, Mr. Muscular, whatever the deal is, but you have an image if you're an entertainer and things like this. Why would you get in these guys look like a bunch of potatoes, the way they were shaped. I'm thinking, women are fighting over this guy, Ray J? And then that fight before where he got knocked out by that one guy. I'm like, did you even train for this fight? I mean, it was like, what the hell happened here? What the hell happened here?
I think they were playing more than anything. Travis says it could be called colorism, but more likely pretty privilege. Shields isn't glowing with feminine energy. I doubt. I disagree. she is glowing with what is feminine energy? Because are we defining feminine energy by a look, or is that energy, right? Like something from within. So is it how you look? And I think that's kind of part of the problem. I'm not saying it's about you necessarily, but I think that's part of the problem. We don't see somebody who is pleasing to us. And then I don't know. I mean, she's a boxer, so I'd imagine there's probably some masculinity going on, right? But Pap said he doesn't have those problems with her at all. So I guess I don't know what that means. She's not glowing with feminine energy. Is that way she looks? Like, what is it? And what should a boxer be glowing with? If you don't mind me asking. And another thing too is, but speaking of pretty privilege, somebody thinks about somebody like Layla Ali, right? Layla's light skin and these things or whatever is deemed to be more acceptable in society. Clarissa is not. So I think that has something to do with it as well, but I don't see her as not being feminine. But maybe it's just me. Scoop, you say, ladies better be happy to have a man with a job that come home every night and is trying to build something. Now, that's a life. I totally agree with you. And Black America, I saw what you said. Albert Chill says, I'm back. I have family in town waiting on my son to come. Also, you're on baby watch? Baby watch, okay. Well, congratulations in advance. Sergeant King, what's going on? Says Clarissa is very attractive. I agree with you. Dark chocolate, beautiful brown sister, my beautiful smile. Anytime you see her, she's always smiling. She's radiant. I mean, what do people want from her? I guess that's kind of where I'm confused. What do people want from her? What? Should she be light-skinned with hair all down her back? And sometimes she has that, I guess. I mean, what would make people think she's, I don't know. I'm confused. Because that's where my mind goes. She's not, a light skin. Well, some people say red bone or whatever it is. So I'm just asking. Fairview says no shirt, no shoes, no service. Yeah, that was standard, right? Royal Constrictor says that's right, Demetria. I can't tolerate a bully either. I can't. It just does something to me. So like I said, I just stay in the house. I stay in the house because I'm gonna tell you what. Y'all, boy, I tell you, April, if you don't mind, you probably won't tell me, but how old are you? Talking about she's copying Remy. Did Remy create clothes? I mean, hey, is that where we are? Honestly, is that where we are? That's what I'm saying. This all the things that I'm just gonna go there. I was just gonna try not to. Black women are the most single out of all the women in the United States. Okay, it's a fact. She is. She didn't used to be, right? For civil rights movement, she wasn't the most single, but she is now. That being said, she is a single mother. She has the responsibility of raising the children the most. And I know the onus is on the father too, so I don't want to discount him, but I'm saying that she is with the children the most. And this is what Dr. Ava Muhammad said, may Allah be pleased with her, that you are with the children, so you still have a responsibility to turn out conducive children. But Black women, I'm just saying, because y'all know all, now y'all them over there know all about what Clarissa and Papoose and Remy is doing, but your children in high school level read at 17% at or above grade level. Your babies can't read in elementary school, read below level. Said fourth graders on average do not read at a fourth grade level. I'm talking about your children, Black women. Some of your children out there right now about to go to jail for the rest of their life or take somebody to, put them 6 feet deep. Again, I'm not excusing the man, but I'm saying because you're the single mama in a household, but a lot of y'all spend a lot of time on the internet in beefs that ain't got nothing to do with you. Y'all all up, not you, April, I'm just saying in general, and Remy and them situation in their household, but your household is falling apart. You got to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. You don't know where your children are. You ain't talked to your children's school teacher. Don't know what they got going on, but you could tell me that Clarissa's copying Remy. Like y'all be all up in the weeds in everybody else's household, but your weeds is overgrown. So I'm just confused. And that's the part that really makes me mad about Black womanhood. Not all of us, but enough of us to have this conversation. Is like, man, if we spent that energy with our own household, we'd be so much better off. We wouldn't be having this conversation about Johnny Kane Reed. right? Or Sally can't read. And as I always say, Sally and Johnny can't read because the parents can't or don't read. But they, you know what they can read? They can read all the posts about Clarissa, Pap, and Remy. They got all that now. You gave their mamas a test right now. They pass all the tests. Oh, on this day, she said this. She had this on it. Pap of this. You do all that, but you can't wait. You get the parent-teacher school night or whatever it is, and your teacher say, hey, yo, no, Johnny, he's getting an F. Well, why ain't nobody tell me? My sister's a school teacher. She said sometimes the parents got the school number blocked. So she says, okay, we can't reach you on the phone. We mail, we email, nothing. Then when they find out that children are failing, then they want to come up there and act like Clarissa Shields with them, right? They want to put up their dukes, but it's like y'all all up in everybody else's business, but the business that counts, and that's the business that's going on in your household. So what the hell is going on, Black women? I'm asking sincerely.
You want to answer that? Here's the answer. Accountability. Accountability is women, not just Black women, women's kryptonite. Accountability is women's. The father ain't here. It doesn't matter. Yes, the father should be there, but he's not. He's not. You are left to raise the children to the best of your ability. So because the father's there, that gives you the excuse to raise a horrible human being. A lot of women think that it does. But accountability is women's biggest problem. They don't want to be held accountable for the decisions they make and whatever. Tuk over there got 8 kids in the neighborhood, and yet you go over there because he's got a nice car and he's slinging pharmaceutical products on the corner, and you get caught up. Now you're baby mama number 9. And then when people call you out on it, no shame zone over here. Don't say nothing to him, whatever. No accountability. You don't want any accountability. And our society pushes women not to have accountability. Why is it that a woman could take her newborn baby, leave it at a fire station, and walk away, no financial responsibility, no nothing? She's not responsible anymore. She can give up her baby. She has no responsibility to it. But as a man, I could have a baby that I didn't want. The woman made me a father, and I'm taking the responsibility in that. And I say, well, I don't want nothing to do with it. No, the government holds me accountable financially, regardless if I want it. How many stories have you heard of these women, these lesbian women that get a surrogate father, then they break up, and then the woman that's left with the child goes after the sperm donor? This is where we're at, you guys. Accountability is the biggest problem with women. They don't want to be held accountable for the decisions they make and the outcomes of those decisions.
Philly to Don, thank you so much for that. Love and appreciate you for gifting 10 memberships. So I guess the memberships are there. I would say just, kind of give a little bit of context to women leaving their children when they don't want them. It's because they made that because children were being unalived due to their mothers not wanting them. So they have an opportunity to turn the baby into a safe place. I think that's what they call it, a safe place. No questions asked up to a point, right? So that the baby is not found unalive in a trash can or, something horrible to it. So it actually gives the child a chance at life. So that's, I just want to put that because it's not like they saying, oh, well, my child is 10, I'm going to give it up. It's, to prevent the unaliving of babies. That's what that's for. And I'm glad they have it.
Right. No, and I'm glad they have it too. But again, where's the fairness in the law? The law is supposed to be fair for everybody across the board. So fellas, and I'm just saying this, how many of you guys that didn't want to be fathers, the chick is hemming you up, have sat there and thought, if I get on a roof and I snipe this chick, it's for the safety of the women too. But the point is, men are constantly being held accountable for what we do. We are. The law holds us accountable. And accountability, unfortunately, for women, they don't want to be held accountable for their decisions. How are you going to have five children with 3 baby daddies, but nobody can hold you accountable?
Well, the other question is, how can you be the 3rd baby daddy?
True. But again, we're held accountable for that. We're held accountable for that. We don't get away. We're paying the child support, whatever it is. We're held accountable for that.
Okay.
We can't go, it's my turn.
That you're damn right. That right? Whoever it is, You should have to pay child support if you lay down with a woman, right? And I think there's, before you go to court, y'all should be able to work that out, right, between the both of you, whatever it is. But if you lay down with a woman you ain't trying to be with, right, y'all not together, the child needs support. Now, I will concede that some of these courts be doing too much, right? It's like, what do you mean a child needs this, that, and the other, you know, all these zeros behind the monthly payment or whatever it is. So I agree that there needs to be some correction there, but you hold yourself accountable, whether you're the man or the woman. Like you talking about, oh, the third baby daddy. Why are you the third baby daddy? You didn't ask this woman if you how many baby daddies you got? Or you been with 2 other dudes you ain't married to, and you laid down in that lady raw, and then you impregnated her, and then you whining and crying about being held accountable. Whose fault is that?
Right, but my point is he's still held accountable, even though he did that dumb thing. Men are held accountable. We're held accountable. Women aren't accountable
too, and I think y'all keep glossing over that. I'm not saying the austere manner and way child support is applied is right, but if the woman is with the child most of the time, that is accountability, because as I say, I put myself in a situation, I have to raise that child, so that's accountability. And so whatever parent, whether it's the man or the woman that is not there, yes, they have to fill in the blanks for, because the other parent is doing the heavy lifting. So you're saying that the woman, or let's say the woman in this case, is not being held accountable. She is being held accountable if she's raising that child.
Right. No, I agree with you. And for those that don't understand this, ladies, here's what you guys don't understand. The court could only make a man financially responsible or put him in jail, but the court cannot make that man be a daddy and come pick up the child on time, whatever. I have never heard of a case where the court went and got the dude and said, you missed your Saturday to pick the child up. They could only make the father financially. If the father doesn't pick up the child, there's nothing the court can do. But real quick, Lady PB says he can sign his rights over, though. Please tell me what state that a man could do that, and I guarantee you would see a mad rush of men going to that state to sign over their rights. I don't think that exists. It might exist, but if you can tell us. No, you can sign over, but you can't arbitrarily do it. There's got to be a reason for you to do it. You just can't say, I'm signing over my rights.
There's cases where a man can sign over his rights and say, hey, I'm signing over my rights. I don't want anything to do with this child. And it has to be an agreement, right?
Right, exactly. But yeah, it could be done, but it's very rarely done, because even if you do, I know a case in the military where the guy signed over his parental rights, but they still made him financially responsible.
Yeah, so everybody's held accountable, and I think listen, raising a child is not easy, especially if you are the parent that has the child the most. That is not easy. So that is called being held accountable. Okay, the other parent that is not there, right, the most or whatever, they gotta pick up their slack financially. But just because I was in that situation, kind of sort of situation, I had split custody with my daughter's father. Some cases you look back like, shoot, it would have been easier to be paying child support, right? But so when you say a parent, the mom is not being held accountable, she is being held accountable. She has to wake up and go to bed and with that child under the same roof, make sure it eats, make sure it gets to school, all that. That's called accountability. So
we're not talking particularly about the child. We're talking about in general. Accountability is kryptonite to women. It just is. It's kryptonite.
But I think the same thing can be said about men. If you whining about having to pay child support and you humped and dumped off, and that was nasty. You humped and dumped off into a woman you wasn't trying to be with, and then she says, "Hey, sucker, you got the ante up." I mean, a lot of men don't want to be held accountable.
No. Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I'm talking in general. When a woman, her light bill isn't, she can't make her light bill. She doesn't want to be held accountable for that. She didn't make her mortgage. She didn't want to be held accountable for that. She didn't make her car note. She wanted to be held accountable for that. That's what we're talking about in general. We're not just talking about a specific item. In general, women do not like to be held accountable. Well, why'd you do that? Why did, you knew you had the rent due, but you went to the club anyway. This is what
men do the same thing.
No, we do, but men are always held like okay. I'll give you a better example. Okay, when a man tricks off his money, does the government come in and say, "Oh, here you go. We'll give you this money because you tricked off your money"? No, they say, "Go out there and get it."
There's
They go out
men
there.
that are
Men,
on
we have to
welfare.
go out there and get it.
There's men that are on welfare.
There are, but that's you're inflating that. You're inflating that.
Is it the fact that men are on welfare with children too?
But not comparatively to women. What I'm saying is this. Wait. What I'm saying is this, and you're missing my point. My point is men, because we're men, we're talking about men. We're not talking about losers or people that, make bad decisions or whatever. We're talking about the men. We're out there working and whatever we're doing. I can't go to the government and say whatever. They say, oh, you make too much money. I have to go get it. Somehow I got diapers to support and I got things I got to go get. No, men are held accountable constantly because this system, ladies, the system we operate in is pro-man. This is a man system. So they don't give us quarter when we make bad decisions. They're like, what? You did this? Oh, you have a side piece and you did this? No, that's on you.
Yes, y'all, please join Jerigo. Please, is a Black-owned social media app. You will love it. And it's something we have to do. It's free to join.
Absolutely. I joined it. It's great. It's been great so far.
Yes, indeed. So yes, please do that, y'all. Bernard, you say the majority of women on welfare. That is a lie. Majority of women are not on welfare. Where y'all be getting this stuff from? I need y'all to log off. Bernard, I love you, but I need y'all to log off sometimes. Where did you get that the majority of women are on welfare? Where'd you get that from? If you don't mind me asking. Brian says not be balanced. Fair is the wrong term. Their conditioning built into the wording, trying to equivocate fair skin and morality. Okay, I think you're probably talking about Clarissa. So incredible. Eli says facts. Donovan Maya says women do too. Look on YouTube and see how many women Uber with their children. We know that, right? But that's that. Do most women get child support? Yes. Are most women the head of the household with the children? Yes. Are the majority of women on welfare? No, it's just a lie. It's not even true. A lot of women work, right? Now, as far as accountability, it may look different from a man to a woman, depending on their situation. But when we say that not liking to be held accountable, okay, that's a different conversation. But not being held accountable, I mean, I think you're both held accountable. If you have a baby and y'all not married, right, and you don't stay together, you're both held accountable. I think it's asinine. I'm not saying you're saying it's Donovan that a man would think that he'd be able to plant a seed in a woman and he get to just skedaddle up the road with no consequences at all. That's called accountability, because her raising a child, right? Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. She's raising a child. She's being held accountable. So what does that actually look like? Because she's not having to pay child support or whatever it is. And when a man has custodial custody or whatever, primary, custody or whatever, oftentimes the mom does have to pay child support. So I get it that most women are drawing child support. Is the system always fair? No, it's not. I know plenty of people who have been raked over the coals by the child support system, and it's not right. But I think the first line of accountability, it starts with yourself. How is it that you become baby daddy number 4 or 5 or 6 or even 3, hell 2 even, and you didn't ask this woman what you got going on, ma'am? Why you got all these baby daddies and why y'all not together? You ain't married none of them. Like, what are we doing here? But no, like I said, a lot of you men, and I say this in love, you sign up to be a multiple baby daddy, right? It'd be I gotta wait to 2:30 because at 2 o'clock, the first baby daddy picking up the child, we don't want to bump heads. Like you didn't. That was where you were supposed to hold yourself accountable so that the white man didn't have to dig up off of your bank account every month. You are the first one that owes you accountability. That starts with you, right? That's why I say I have a whole bunch of kids, because I already knew financially, mentally, even though I raised some other children, right? Not biological, but you get what I'm saying. Let's see. Sergeant King says more men carry EBT cards than elders and veterans. That I don't know, but yeah, they get EBT cards, right? So yeah, is it more woman heavy? I would probably argue yes, because they probably, have full responsibility of the children, but men can get EBT. You know, they get it. I guess. Mahaya, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. He says, we have no allies. Nope. Freddie, what's going on? Says the system was set up for men to win, particularly white men. And yeah, nobody, see, I'm glad you said that. Because people mad, let's say with black women, but they're not mad at the white man. The white man built the system of child support. The white man built the system. Hell, who's in Florida? Let's say that you need to start paying child support upon inception. Whether you know you the baby daddy or not. That's Florida. A man made that, but ain't nobody going to Florida with no pitchforks, right? I think that's nonsensical at inception because I don't know, right? I mean, unless it's your wife or whatever. But I'm talking about the child support situation. If she says, ain't pregnant, it's him. They're like, okay, bet. Now you need to pay child support. Down the baby ain't but a week old in her stomach. That's too bad. Because more than likely, especially if she's going to draw public assistance, they're like, yeah, no, she ain't going to be drawing it from us. We're going to get it from you. The baby's look like a little lima bean, right? So be careful.
Which is kind of crazy. And then, you know, we can't get that money back as men. And then we have all this money that we're paying to these illegals. We're not going to get that money back. I mean, money's just flowing everywhere except to the American people.
Yeah. Lou Chains, what's going on? Says majority of these so-called bad bees are broke. Yeah, they fronting. Philly the Don, thank you so much for that love. I appreciate you once again. Says my mother, may Allah be pleased with her, born in 1953, was a Black Panther. She raised 9 kids on her own, 7 sisters, 1 older brother. She gave the ultimate sacrifice for her family. No complaints, much love to the real ones, real parents. Yeah, there's a lot of parents out there that did that's like, you know what? I'm going to make it do what it do, and salute to your mother, right? May Allah be pleased with her. And a lot of women did that, right? A lot of women didn't put the man in the system or whatever it was. They just did what they had to do. So, yeah, we need to, you know, tell those stories too. Albie Chill, you say, how about we all messed up and need each other to get right? Come on now. I think that's the best solution. African Native says he means child support fair. Child support is not a source of income. No, it's not. It's supposed to aid in taking care of the child, right? The housing and things like that. And then a lot of times people don't talk about the cases where the other parent who is receiving child support don't hardly get nothing. You know, $50, $100 or whatever. It's like, that's a drop in the bucket, you know? So that happens a lot. Well, I think sometimes we only hear about the egregious child support amounts, but we don't hear about the other end where, you know, sometimes the other parent don't have to pay at all, or they paying a tiny bit. So the other parent is shouldering the burden.
Or those situations where the father, because he's paying child support, he doesn't put in on birthdays, graduations, Christmases. He just doesn't have to do that because that's all considered a gift. So it kind of, again, the system that we use that's supposed to help families is really hurting, especially Black families.
Well, that's why it behooves Black family to get together. Marry before you carry. Ain't that what they say? Marry before you carry. See, that's the conversation we really just don't want to stand 10 toes down on. Marry before you carry. That goes for both people. If you don't lay down, right? If you're not trying to be married or any of that, you don't see yourself paying child support, you know, for 20 years or whatever, don't do it. It's that simple. Sex is for procreation. I think we forget that sometimes. So that's the better argument. Get married, stay together, figure it out, work it out, right? Stop leaving every time a big old booty walk by and all of a sudden the relationship you in ain't no good no more, right? Like thug it out. I'm not saying if something egregious is going on, I mean, you might want to, you know, cut your losses, but people getting divorced for all kind of silly stuff. And then mad because somebody got paid child support, alimony, and all. Just stay together. I would think that would just be so simple. Or don't lay down and create children you're not trying to pay for, because children are expensive. What they say, if you're doing it right, it costs upwards of $300,000, and the child's from the time they're born to 18, 20.
The average cost of a child in the United States now, with what's going on now, with all the prices going up, $300,000 plus.
Yeah,
that's just basic. Wait, and that's basic stuff. That's not even the extras. That's basic.
So it's abstinence, $2 condom. I don't know how much it costs. Okay, or $300,000. You see what I'm saying? Those are your options. Pick your poison wisely. Dre B says CDC says in so many words that black males are the best fathers over of the groups. Yes, the most involved. That is true. That is absolutely true. I think we should also keep in mind that the original deadbeat baby daddy was the slave master. Right? They don't like to tell that story when they be bumping their gums on the internet. Oh Lord. Fast Not Feeling says family courts are a net negative to black family. It's designed to keep blacks in poverty. That is true. It is true, which is why we got to do our best to stay together. Make sure we're getting together for the right reasons, right? Stop meeting somebody at the club and then going home with them, laying down, and then she talking about, guess what? I'm pregnant, and guess who the daddy is?
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? I have a lot of friends that are married and stuff, and I remember, you remember when we started in high school. You know, you're young and you're still striving and stuff. And when you're single, it takes you a lot longer to get where you want to go. So a good example, I live in California. How is a single person, male or female, going to save up to have enough money just for the down payment for a house in California when the average house in California is $800,000? You're looking at what, 15, 20 years of saving money just for the down payment. However, if you talk to a lot of economists and financial advisors, they will tell you a faster path to wealth is marriage, with the incentives, the tax breaks, and then you got two people working toward that common goal. But Demetra, I swear it makes me gnarl my teeth. You still have women out here who refuse to get married because they were told by their bitter aunties and these feminazis out here, girl, you could do it on your own. I don't see how any young person today living in California could do it on their own, male or female. So we got to get out of that notion. Yeah, ladies, stop telling your daughters and your nieces marriage is a bad thing. They could do it on their own. Not anymore. It is done. We need each other. We got to work together. All of our friends, some of our mutual friends that we have, I look at what a lot of them can do because they're married and the financial wealth that they have. It's mind-blowing. I have a friend, introduced him to his wife. Both of these people were friends on both sides of me. One was a friend another way. Introduced them, they got married. Demetra, am I lying? They got married. When they got married, my friend was living with me. When they got married and got together, because she has a good job and he's retired and has a good job, whatever the deal is, they bought a house. What kind of cars did they get? BMWs. I don't want to tell their business, but what I'm saying is, just like that, their lives got better 1,000-fold. Yeah, do they have ups and downs and problems? Yes, but they're working through those problems.
Yeah. Jay, thank you so much for that love and appreciate you. Says, my mother was married, but my father left to start a new family. Isn't guaranteed to stay together. We need to advocate for dedication to your children. I totally agree. So there's a lot of things that happen that people really don't talk about, right? That happened to my mom as well. My mother's mom, my grandmother, my mom's father took off when she was, a young child, and my grandmother never saw him again. And he also went and made another family that she never got to know. And I'll tell you one thing, for that, those that's happened to, and she had a stepfather who raised her as well, and that's who I consider to be my grandfather. But it does leave a hole in a person. It leaves a void in them, because they'll always wonder why didn't you love me? What was it about me? And, those type of things, even though that had nothing to do with my mom and probably really didn't have nothing to do with my grandmother, just a decision he just made, decide to do. But it sure does scar people for life. So that's why it's just better to be, sure that's what you want to do, but just to take off. I mean, he said he was going to the store and they never saw him again. So I just imagine the pain that my grandmother experienced, and my mom was probably too young to remember, but the pain that my grandmother experienced, knowing that the man she was married to, right, is her husband, did that. So yeah, I totally understand about that. So anyway, let me see. Anybody's come on here before we get out of here? Just want to make sure. I want to read this comment. And Lee, how you doing? What? Margaret says God honors marriage, Hebrew 13:4. Yeah. Beverly says it makes no sense for us to be struggling alone. The enemy divided black men and women. Yeah. Put our income together, because like you said, them houses, boy. Facts Not Feelings says sex is a natural thing. Family court is not. This is why I'll never join military or tell my children to join military. When the treatment of men get better, then you can join, defend the country. Yeah. Y'all heard about that Navy ship that's out there, that they said that the Navy men, or the sailors rather, are some of them are trying to jump overboard because of the conditions on the ship, that they've been out there, I think, for months, and they have not returned at all.
They've been out there for over 250 something days, a little over a year. The Abraham is coming back in a couple of weeks back to San Diego port.
Yeah, but in the meantime, they said the food is horrible, the living conditions is terrible.
The military. Who would have thought, huh?
I mean, but I think a lot of people are saying that's not normal to leave a ship out there like that, in that condition.
Yes, it is not normal, but when you shrink the fleet and you reduce your military, even though the military budget has gone up, what do you think is going to happen? I'll give you a better example. I spent 16 tours in the Middle East. Why? Because some of you people, we don't have a draft, and some of you people won't go and sign up. So that's what the military has to do. I'm not complaining about it, but that's how it is. And if you're in the military, that's it. There's nothing to complain about. You signed up for it. It's not an easy life. We are not a social experiment for civilians. You're in the military.
Well, you're about the only person I've seen justify what those service people are going through out there. It doesn't sound like that's something that they have to be going through. So, you know, regardless, I think they should treat our service people a little bit better. I mean, I've seen and heard, I've even seen some people, you know, release videos of the conditions on the ship. So it just sounds like they're just being neglected, and that's jacked up. Hey, Jay.
Yeah, but again, and you're coming from a civilian aspect of how it's supposed to be. The military is not the civilian world, you guys. We operate on a different type of. I agree with you. It's horrible. It's this. When I went to the first Gulf War, I was in a flooded Vietnam tent for about a month and a half. Crabs crawling in like that. Sir, I need to get a stress car. No, it wasn't. The military is different. It's held to a different standard, and that is the real deal. Some of these kids nowadays, they're not made for the, you know, whatever, and it gets to them, whatever. I get it. We're in a different world. I get it. But the military is not the civilian world, and you can't antiquate the two. No. And those people, when they get back to port, whatever, they will be dealt with, however, mental health, whatever they need to help them out, whatever. But you can't antiquate. They're two different worlds. They're just two different worlds.
I don't think anybody's ever made that claim that they're trying to compare civilians. I think that's conflation, actually. Nobody's comparing the military to civilian world. I've seen civilians and people in the military alike, right? Different people have this conversation, and all of them. I've not seen one person give it the conversation that you've given it. Maybe it's just, you know, I'm not in all conversations.
Look in your comments. Look at some of the people in the comments. Terry Phillips says, I'm a vet and those sailors' conditions are bad. And I say they're bad, but that's what you signed up for. I agree. Nobody's in disagreement.
Wait. You sign up for bad conditions?
No, you sign up to be in the military. When you do your contract, wait.
But are we signing up? Wait. Are we signing up? Are they signing up for bad conditions? Yes or
no? Yes. In
So
some
bad
conditions,
conditions?
yes. It's in your contract. You're not going to be in the greatest place. You're not going to be in Palm Springs. You're not going to be whatever. You are signing up for wherever they tell you to go. I was in Alaska for 5 years, for Christ's sakes. I didn't sign up for that crap, but that's where I was at. It is what it is. That's what you sign up for.
Yeah. Like I said, I've seen a lot of commentary on it, and I haven't heard anybody give it the conversation you gave it. I've seen a lot of sympathy for people, because to hear that people are trying to jump overboard, being that they want to unalive themselves. I just, I think we should have a little bit more reverence for what they're going through, whether they signed up for it or not. To hear people are trying to take their lives is crazy.
Demetria, when I was in Alaska, we have a thing up there called a cabin fever. Do you know how many military people I knew that blew their brains out because they couldn't deal with the cabin fever situation that's up there? It's what you sign up for. Not everybody could handle everything. I'm not saying it's right. I agree with you. The conditions are horrible. Well, Demetria, you should know that. You've been on the Navy Marine bases. Compared to back in the day, compared to the Air Force bases, this was archaic stuff.
Hey, I was able to come and go as I wanted to.
Right. But do you see what I'm saying? Now they're upgrading the Marine Corps base. The Marine Corps bases now are better than the Air Force bases. Right now, the Air Force bases look like ghettos compared to the Navy and the Marine housing areas and stuff.
Which is also the other problem. I mean, they got $1.5 trillion budget now.
Yeah, but it goes to R&D, research and development. It doesn't go to the people, whatever. They're trying to do better, but that's what they're doing. But what I'm saying is, you guys, yes, you do sign up for those horrific conditions, unfortunately, and not everybody could handle it. When I was in Alaska, people were blowing their brains out at least 3 or 4 times a month. At least. It's sad, but that's what you sign up for.
Well, we wish those servicemen, luck and that they get back and all that, because at the end of the day, depending on where you stand on it, it's a war that has nothing to do with us. And I think that's where the larger conversation is, you got Americans who are suffering due to no net benefit of America. So can't really have that conversation on here. But listen, we're going to get out of here, y'all, so I can conserve my voice, because I got to do a lot of speaking next week. But I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Come back and see us tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time, where we'll have another great conversation. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of your evening. Peace.